VHP Shobha Yatra that was held in Haryana. We're now learning that on a day that the Jalabhishek was conducted at the temple by the VHP and other Hindu groups, CNN News 18 via sources within the Haryana police has now learned that there has been no major breakthrough in the violence that broke out on the 31st of July. This was, remember, the last time around when a similar procession was carried out by VHP and other Hindu groups where violence broke out and at least 6 lives were lost. CNN News 18 is now gathering more information from its sources within the Haryana police of what exactly the status of the investigation is. Remember, we're almost 1 month since that particular violence broke out during that procession. Let's take a look at what exactly our investigation has now spelled out for us. This is what sources within the Haryana police have now told us, that there has been unfortunately no major breakthrough yet. Now there are several arrests that have been made in this case, but we're learning that there is no major breakthrough is what the police believes, because the mastermind is still at large. That is the big reason why the cops believe that there is no major breakthrough in the riots investigation just as yet. We're also learning that majority of the people that are involved in that July 31st instance are still on the run. What exactly was the trigger? Was there any pre-planning? All of that is under investigation. It's difficult to determine who actually instigated the violence because many were arrested, they were let off on bail, but those who are believed to be masterminds are still on the run. Only the mastermind's arrest can actually determine how it was pre-planned, if it was, and to what extent that pre-planning went to. Initial assessment of the police also throws up the fact that the riots were not pre-planned. They perhaps were a spontaneous mobilization of people, and that's really what led to the violence that we saw there. The situation escalated after an alleged instigation or comments that came to the fore from a local Maulvi or a cleric. He believed to have said that the Muslim community or the minority community was under threat. That is a comment that really triggered the kind of violence that we saw on the 31st of July. We're also given to understand that a mobilization plan was then put in place by this particular cleric, which is perhaps what led to the violence that we saw. There are intel reports that were already present with the district administration, with the state government, but unfortunately they were ignored. They fell on deaf ears, which is why the situation escalated to what it did back then, which is also why today we saw the district administration leave no stone unturned as far as putting security in place went. Monu Mane sir's video was also a triggering point. Remember, many within the administration there, many within the state government had said that this video, even though Monu Mane sir wasn't actually present there, the fact that he released a video, remember, he is a wanted criminal in another case. But the fact that he released a video saying that he would be present there, that was seen as a trigger point that is still under investigation. Anshul, my colleague, now joining us, getting us more details. Anshul, we've seen the kind of difference of scenes that we saw on the 31st of July and what we saw today. The Yatra went on completely peacefully today. The security was much heightened after what we saw on 31st. This could have been a similar scene back then as well, had the state government paid heed to all the intel reports that they had with them.
Well, definitely, this is the question that we have been raising from day one, that yes, there were local intelligence inputs that yes, the situation could trickle out of hand. There is mobilization that is happening at that point, especially on the at least 2 to 3 days before the violence initially broke out in New on the 31st of July. What we have also gathered is that the police is now making sure that they actually chalk out the entire plan and actually present this in the charge sheet, that how this entire riots were planned. Because remember, if at all these riots were something that happened spontaneously or organically, then these riots must have been contained to the area where the Yatra was being taken out, that is near the Nalhar Mahadev temple. But yes, the violence that broke out not only broke out at the site, but also at least 40 kilometers away at Fatehpur Beri, the riots also broke out, and the riots also broke out at least 16 kilometers away from the spot as well. And the people who have been arrested from different districts of Haryana, including the likes of Gurugram and Sona as well. So people had actually come all the way from Gurugram, Sona, Fatehpur Beri, Palwal, Rajasthan, and they were the people who instigated that violence, and the riots broke out there. Till now, the new administration and the new police has been able to take more than 80 people under their arrest, and these people have specifically been identified from the videos that came out post the violence that had broken out on the 31st of July. Now today, the kind of situation that we saw developing in Nu, that was actually to give out a message that the new administration is capable of maintaining law and order in their state. And even after the VHP had promised that they are going to go ahead and carry out with the Yatra, the new administration did not bend down and made sure that even the top brass of the VHP that had reached over there, they were specifically handpicked, earmarked, and then they were taken in small groups. Approximately 50 people were taken for this Jal Abhishek ceremony that was supposed to happen today. And what the new administration said, that the Yatra was still not allowed and it was just a ceremony, just a ritual that was allowed to happen. And 50 people were earmarked. Most of them were locals of the Nu district. Only Alok Kumar and a few other senior members of the VHP and senior sons were earmarked and handpicked, and they were taken for this Jal Abhishek that was supposed to be done in all the three temples where the Yatra was supposed to be taken out. So this was the kind of messaging that the new administration was trying to give, and they have been successful in doing so, because there have been zero reports, absolutely zero reports of any sort of violence or any sort of untoward incident that might have taken place today, or any sort of tension even that might have been built anywhere. So this is the kind of messaging that was done by the new administration today. But yes, the manner in which local intelligence was let go of on the 31st of July, that is something that is very, very questionable. And post that, we saw that how the local administration was reprimanded. Even the DC, the district collectorate and the SP of Nu, both were transferred with immediate effect just 3 to 4 days after the riots had broken out. The main reason that was given, although on record it was said that that it was due, it was a part of a due process. But yes, the manner in which this entire incident took place right after the violence had broken out, sudden transfers that took place, that definitely can be seen as a reprimand that was given to the local district administration. In fact, the district collector and the SP of Nu, who were taken away from their jobs and were transferred to other districts. Now, today the new administration was in place, and they made sure that the law and order situation remained under control. And in fact, several rounds were taken by the district collector himself and the SP.